Mr. Westerman, sir, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also support this amendment by my colleague, Mr. Graves. And I think he brings a very important issue to light here about how we can't be putting unnecessary regulations on American producers while we turn a blind eye to what the rest of the world's doing. And I know my colleagues across the aisle have shared a common concern with the safety in oil and gas production. And of course, safety is something that we all hold near and dear, and we want to make sure that we have the safest, most reliable energy sources in the world. And actually, we do have that, and a big part of it is because of pipelines. But this discussion really isn't about safety and reliability of energy sources. It's an attack on fossil fuels. My colleagues have stated it in this hearing already, or in this markup, that the only way to eliminate oil spills is to stop all drilling. And I think that's a position held by the Democrats, is that we want to stop all drilling. But I think there's a lot of flawed logic. There's a lack of math. There's a lack of science and a lack of reason in this argument. And first off, let's look at the logic. The logic is that we can stop all fossil fuel production and it's going to save the climate. Well, the regulations that are being put in place are actually to stop all drilling in the United States. But it has been said already in this markup, the administration has put the clamps down on American production while they're asking foreign countries like Saudi Arabia and Russia to increase production, and Venezuela, places where the environmental regulations, the human rights, and all of those things aren't nearly as stringent as what we have here in the United States. And then the left puts up this red herring of electric vehicles. And this is where the math and the science just doesn't add up. You want to attack our most reliable and efficient and low-cost energy source here in the United States and say we're going to solve the problem with an electric vehicle. Well, look at the math. The U.S. accounts for 15% of global carbon emissions. Transportation makes up 29% of that. If we could magically wave a wand and convert every internal combustion engine in transportation, not just passenger vehicles and trucks, but ships, planes, all agriculture and construction equipment, if we could do that, we would reduce global carbon emissions by 4%. But I think everybody, if you'll be honest, would admit we can't do that. There's certain equipment that requires a different kind of fuel than an electric source. That is, if all that electricity going into those electric vehicles is produced by non-carbon sources. The fact is that if we impose this huge burden on America, where we stop drilling and stop fossil fuel energy production, if we could wave a magic wand and make electric vehicles everywhere, we would have a very insignificant impact on global carbon emissions. As I heard someone once say, it would be about the equivalent impact as a hair on a mole's butt. It would not affect the overall global carbon emissions. Yet we want to drive jobs away from this country. We want to destroy our reliable energy sector. And we're doing it all in the name of this red herring of electric vehicles. It won't work. We should be focusing on policies to have clean energy, to have safe energy, reliable energy, and we should not be pushing all of our jobs overseas, which is just going to back up our ports even more. This all goes back to the oil spill in California that we believe was caused by too many ships in the port that can't get unloaded because of supply chain deficiencies. So we can talk about safety in pipelines, and I think we're all interested in that. But let's look at this for what it really is. It's an attack on fossil fuels. And it's an attack that's not based in logic, it's not based in science, and it's sure not based in math. So I support the amendment by Mr. Graves. I'm still adamantly opposed to the overlying or the base bill, even with good amendments in it. So again, this is a good amendment to a bad bill. I support the amendment and I yield back.